Hi, I'm Gautam Singampalli and I'm at home building my new desktop PC. Well, to all you guys out there who want to build your own PC, or to the technology lovers who want to learn about all the components of a desktop PC, hope you find this video useful. Let me first briefly list out the main parts you need to build a high-performance PC. To start off, you need a good motherboard, then a processor, a dedicated cooler for the processor, an optional graphics card, as much RAM as you can afford really, hard drives, or you can do better by getting some SSDs, a case with ample space to enclose all your parts, an efficient power supply, a disk drive, while choosing your motherboard, make sure to get one with a socket compatible to your CPU. Look at these supply pins. If you're buying a large case, make sure to get a power supply with cables long enough to reach the supply ports. Z77 here implies that the board is based on the Z77 chipset architecture. Now let's see Z77's magic. It supports a bunch of USB and SATA ports to make us happy. 4 high-speed USB ports, 2 yellow and 2 black, and 4 super speed blue ports are located at the back. And we also have a Thunderbolt port. We have 4 SATA 3.0 and 4 SATA 2.0 ports. We also have 2 PCIe 3.0 X16 slots, but if you have 2 graphics cards, then each card will use only 8 lanes. Each front panel header can be connected to 2 USB ports, blue for super speed, yellow and black for high speed. Audio header for your front panel. Convenient power and reset buttons for an initial out-of-the-case assembly. Fan header right next to your CPU. And boy, I'm drooling over how fantastic the case looks. Alright, to get straight to the nuts and bolts of how to build a PC, let me start with the CPU installation. Making sure that I don't bend any of the pins, I'm simply aligning the processor to the 2 little indicator heads. Then I'm trying to carefully drop the metal plate and tighten the lever. You'll hear a creaking sound as if the metal plate is killing the CPU, but I guess that's alright. Now after placing the 4 legs of the cooler into the designated holes, I'm simply pressing the legs till they lock with click. Keep in mind that this is an awful cooler. Although semiconductor companies test all chips till 90 degrees Celsius or 110 degrees Celsius for a few years of target lifetime, we just can't digest the fact that the stock cooler does not do its job. Just look at the temperatures. When the CPU is relatively idle, its temperature is 45 degrees Celsius on average. That's awful. Let's see what happens when the CPU has a decent load. Look at how the temperature is skyrocketing. It almost touches 65 degrees Celsius. Well, the bottom line is you definitely need a third-party cooler. RAM installation is quite straightforward. I'll simply align the RAM to the slot and gently press it down to lock them. I have 4 8GB cards, and each of them run at a standard frequency of 1600 MHz, but I've overclocked them to 1866 MHz. Now I'll take this rear I/O panel and simply align it to the back of my case and press it on all 4 edges till it snaps to its place. To install the disk drive, I'll need to pull out the front panel. It easily comes off, but pulling it from the bottom. I'll then slide the drive into its place. Align it. And then tighten the screws. And replace the front panel. You know what? I'm excited to use the new Intel SSD drives. I have a 240 GB drive and a 180 GB drive. I also purchased a couple of drive bays which host the SSDs. Now I'll simply plug in the power cord and the SATA cord. And slide the drive into their respective bays. Next, I'll place the motherboard and align it with the rear I/O panel. I'm trying to be as careful as possible, as there might be some metal aligners peeping out of the I/O panel, and you don't want them in your ports. Imagine this. You rig up your desktop, and right when you want to plug your HDMI cable, you see a piece of metal sticking out of the I/O panel, making love to your HDMI port. No, that's not pleasant. Well, learn from others' mistakes, eh? Then I'll plug my SATA cables. Here I'm plugging my SSD and disk drive. Check out Intel's Smart Response technology for SSD caching. It's pretty cool. Now the front panel of the case comes with an eSATA port, a super speed USB port, and two high-speed USB ports. First, I'll connect the reset pins, hard drive, power LED pins, and on-off pins. Then the eSATA cable and the USB ports. I'm not able to get my USB 3.0 port to work. I think there's a compatibility issue between the case and the Z77 motherboard. And now for the graphics card. And the audio cable. Now for the fan cables. I have a 230mm fan on the top, two 140mm fans on the front, a 120mm fan at the back, and a 230mm fan on the side plate. Now I'll give the power supply connection to the motherboard. The CPU, and the graphics card. Also to the hard drives, and the disk drive. And the remaining two fans. Now what I'm doing is really dumb and I wouldn't recommend it. I took a steel ladle and made sure that it has low resistance, and then connected its other end to an electrical ground. Some people suggest touching the case frequently to discharge the charge buildup on your fingertips, but my multimeter was telling me that my metallic case was not conducting at all. Strange. Anyway, I frequently touch that ladle while assembling the PC. AZZA Solano 1000R full tower case has not been the right choice for me because my Cooler Master Hyper Evo does not fit this case. It interferes with the side fan. However, make your own judgment while purchasing this case as your motherboard may be different, but also keep in mind that most of the motherboards are based on Intel motherboard design. First of all, you can see that this case looks really neat with its awesome red theme, and its red fans are really cool. Let's take a closer look at the case. If I open up the side panel, the one without the fan, you can see that the case has holes in the right places to neatly route the wiring, which helps good airflow inside the case. Now take a look at this other big hole. This is used to access the CPU cooler without removing the motherboard. The 4 pins of the cooler can be seen from here. Obviously, there is a major mismatch between the case and this Intel Z77 Extreme motherboard. I'm saying that because 2 of the pins are hidden away and not accessible. Third-party coolers mostly need nuts and bolts to be attached to the motherboard, and you have no way of removing the cooler without taking all your connections apart, because the 2 screws will be under the shell. Okay, let's get this thing powered on. And if you see the startup screen, congratulations, you did it.